What was Venice Beach before the tech boom? Before buskers were busted, before skateboarders skated, before iron was pumped, before oil was dumped? What was Venice Beach before the universe banged into bigness?
Hello. Inspiration is my subject. Not the physical action of breathing, and not the charming romantic muses coming to whisper in the ear of a poet. No, speaking about a strong word, inspiration, which goes with creation and sharing. Those are the words who have been in the middle of my working life. Look at that box. It's full of DVDs of all my films and other things. 60 years of creation. Not even £4. It's like nothing. It's like nothing. This is, you can have it. So it could be the end. I could be finished. Could be like going to retire, but it's not. I felt I should not retire. So what keeps me on? It's motivation, inspiration, desire of creating. Well, it hasn't stopped. So we don't know exactly, because what I know is that desire is the essence of life. Inspiration is the essence of creating, of creation. So how does it come? You know, it can be vague things invading the brain. It could be some thoughts. And sometimes it's just emergency. I have to tell you a story. This is in 1967. I'm in San Francisco. There is a film festival. And Tom Luddy said to me, there is a man named Varda, he's a painter in Sausalito. We should go and meet him. Well, we went. And he was a man. Tom introduced me to that man. Beautiful hippie type, long hair, big pants, loving look. And he said he was a real cousin of my father, so we were family. And there was love at the first sight, to tell the truth. We were so happy to meet, and I was impressed. And I said, well, I have to capture that. I should make a film right away. We were on Wednesday, you know. I know I had to leave on Monday. I called a distributor called Greensfelder. I said, look, I need a 35mm camera, film stock. And he brought me to David Myers, known DP. And we started to shoot on Friday. We shot, you know, Janko's paintings, the house, what was around. And on Saturday, he invited friends. Everybody spoke about what he was doing. And on Sunday, he invited young people and some animals to go in a little boat, and he went to sail on the bay. And then I did some wild sound in English and in French. So the thing is that when I filmed, I thought already the kind of editing I wanted to do, because I knew I wanted to tell the meeting, but not just tell the meeting. I should express the excitement, the surprise, the joy that happened. So I did what I did, and I succeeded to do a Baroque editing. Now, you will see that.
I delegated my friend Tom to get information and introduce me, without knowing what kind of fish I might find. Imaginary families, I love you. I dedicate to you the sketch which will follow. We will play for you the avuncular recognition, or how Uncle Yanko acknowledged his niece and niece.
Monsieur Varda?
Oui.
I'm bringing someone who would like to meet you. It's Agnès Varda.
Agnès?
Yes.
Agnès. Is she the daughter of Eugène?
Je ne sais pas.
Vous êtes la fille d'Eugène Varda?
Oui, c'est moi.
You are the daughter of Eugène Varda?
Yes, yeah.
Is he married to Evgeniu Varda?
Oui.
Scene C8, take two.
Is he married to Varda? To Evgeniu?
Nee.
Sound.
Vous êtes la fille.
Scene.
Vous êtes
C8.
the daughter of Agnès Varda?
Scene C12.
Moi, je me suis souvent demandé, quand j'ai lu le livre de Miner.
La même chose avec moi. C'est ce que je voulais toujours. Je voudrais que tu sois un peu juste gâtée. Alors, tu es ma nièce. Tu es
Bon,
ma
oui, on
nièce.
dirait.
Mais oui.
Bon, coupe.
Because, you know, it is true that I love that meeting. And Janko became an inspiration for me. Like Picasso, I never met Picasso, but I was so impressed by the way he could reinvent his own art, every 5 years changing, inventing. And other artists also, like Calder. I loved Calder. Those artists inspired us. We need, you know, I think art feeds us, that's the way I feel. But sometimes it's more simple things that inspired me, like everyday life. You know, this is in 2000. It was the end of a farmer market. And the vendor, the farmer, were putting their boxes and basket back in the truck. And the city cleaners, with their, you know, their plastic green brooms, were waiting. And I could see people coming, young and old people, bending their bodies to get something on the floor. And what was left, you know, some salad, some boxes of eggs. Some eggs were broken, so the vendor left the box. Fruits not very in good shape, different things. And I was very impressed. A sentence came in my mind right away. It said, "They will eat what we throw away." And it became, I thought to think, I should do something about that. I should find who is gleaning, what can be gleaned in the fields, in the cities, mostly the garbage cans, and in the field, corn, you know, apples, stuff, and potatoes. So that's how I started the documentary called Les Glaneurs et la Glaneuse. In English, The Gleaners and I.
Là, il m'en reste beaucoup, là.
Les grandes surfaces demandent un gabarit bien précis, une grosseur bien précise.
Nous, on vend des pommes de terre d'une grille 45 mm à 75. Tout le reste, tout ce qui est au-dessus est automatiquement jeté.
Dans les déchets, on trouve il y en a des très grosses, hein. Vous voyez. Il y en a même qui sont difformes, forme de cœur.
Ah ben le cœur, je le veux. Quelle surprise! J'étais contente. Je les ai aussitôt filmés de près. Puis j'en ai ramené à la maison. Je les ai regardés. J'ai attendu qu'elles vieillissent, qu'elles sèchent, qu'elles se ratatinent. Des germes et des radicelles. J'ai recommencé à les filmer et à les photographier. Ensuite, je les ai fait respirer.
Patate Utopia.
Et il fallait 700 kilos de patates pour couvrir le sol au ras des écrans. C'était la première fois que j'installais 3 écrans. I was impressed by the beauty of these old potatoes. The hard-shaped potatoes became a very important feeling that, you know, that's the way you look at things that make them beautiful. And I also thought of another more typical way of discussing about beauty. You know, the classical, the beautiful face of a beautiful woman. This is Corinne Marchand, who acted as Cleo in my film Cleo from 5 to 7. This is in 1961. And the time was very strange because in the late 50s and the late 60s, there were difficult things. There were the Algerian War, and there was a very general feeling afraid of cancer, like a fear for everybody. And I thought cancer should be a subject. And I thought I should tell a story of a woman expecting medical result. She's afraid to have a cancer, she's afraid to die. And I wrote a story of her, 90 minutes of her expecting those results. I was near her, trying to understand her feeling, trying to go, really go with her. But there was something which was more complicated for me. I had a secret inspiration, and sometimes it's a painting. And I've been very inspired by a painting from Hans Baldung Green. This is 1500. And he used to do these beautiful women with skeleton. This one pulls her hair, others are speaking to her here. And it was, for me, the carnal beauty and the dryness of the skeleton, flesh and bones. And that image was in me like a metaphor of the story of Cleo. Sometimes I had a postcard with me, put it on the wall where we were shooting. The pressure on Cleo, the pressure of death is strong. And I wanted to understand what she felt and understand how she would be, as a beautiful singer, attacked even by the words of a song.
Sans toi. C'est trop. Je ne peux plus. C'est affreux.
Mais qu'est-ce qu'elle a?
Elle est fatiguée. Et puis vous savez, le mot cafard est maléfique. C'est comme le mot corde.
Un mot, ce n'est rien, encore que la rime. Mais c'est une belle chanson, je vous assure. Avec ce cri d'amour, vous allez révolutionner le monde de la chanson.
Vraiment? Mais qu'est-ce que c'est qu'une chanson? Combien de temps dure-t-elle?
Caprice.
Caprice, caprice. Vous n'avez que ce mot-là à la bouche. Mais c'est vous qui faites de moi une capricieuse. Tantôt je suis une idiote, une incapable, une poupée de son. Maintenant, je vais faire une révolution avec des mots macabres. Mais c'est ça vos chansons de charme? C'est avec ça que je vais faire un succès? J'ai réussi comme un enterrement avec beaucoup de monde. Vous vous servez de mes nerfs, vous m'exploitez. Allez-vous-en. Non, c'est moi qui pars. Quand je vais vous servir à boire, la séance est finie. Laissez toutes les chansons, je choisirai toute seule.
Mais tu sais pas le solfège?
Je me mets en noir. Pour vos chansons, je serai dans la note. Un cri d'amour, seul laide et livide. Voilà. Si je pouvais m'arracher la tête avec. Cette figure de poupée, toujours la même. Et ce chapeau ridicule. ne peux même pas lire ma propre peur. Depuis 2 jours, je pense que tout le monde me regarde et moi, je ne regarde personne que moi. C'est lassant.
Ne vous attendrissez pas sur les grenouilles. Elles ne souffrent pas. Elles reverront le jour, vivantes, dans un moment. Venez, petite grenouille, on va vous changer l'aquarium. 3e grenouillard.
But you see, even in a fiction film, I love to have part of documentary. That was true. That's the way that man was doing, and other people in the street, because I'm very interested in replay. That's why I do documentaries, among other things. You know, it's not the power of truth, but the truth is very interesting. It's attaching, it's difficult, you know. And most of the time, I try to grab what in life would inspire documentary. One day, pushed to a very sad inspiration. It happened because the wonderful director for Umbrellas of Cherbourg, Jacques Demy, who also was my husband, was sick, very sick. And he was writing his memories, the memories of his childhood. And he would show me the pages every other day. And he said, I would like to do the film, but I don't have the strength to do it. Would you like to do it? So I said, I will do a film from his memories. So I felt I entered in his head to remember. I've shared the same time of the war. I've shared the bombing. I've known, you know, where we're trying to play as children. But I was not interested in my memories, but his memories during the war. So when I did the film, I understood I had 2 concerns. One was to be near him, as near as possible. In a cinema language, I would have to do close-up, almost macro filming. And I wanted to get that the camera would be near him, get the substance, get the texture of his hair, texture of his skin, the texture of his eye. On the other hand, the other part of the fiction was a fiction about his childhood and how, during this difficult time, he was a young boy who had a very early vocation, and how, alone in his attic, he started to make animated film. His wish was to learn about cinema. His wish to go in a film school. But he was doing his own work alone. There is a little excerpt on his attic.
Faut bien que tu me le montres. Je comprends rien quand on parle.
Bah viens, je vais t'expliquer. Regarde.
Oh, t'es bien installé.
Bon, tout l'espace est très fragile. Ne te mets pas à côté de la caméra, elle est posée très précisément. Regarde, si je veux faire bouger la petite danseuse, je bouge la jambe, je tourne une image. Je bouge la jambe, je tourne une image. Je bouge la jambe, je tourne une image. T'as compris? C'est comme un mouvement continu. Si par exemple on filme mon bras, tac, 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 ça donne un mouvement continu. Bon, t'as compris. Maintenant tu descends parce que je dois rester calme et très concentré.
Ah, ça va pas du tout. C'est flou, c'est bougé. Ça va vraiment pas.
You know, I was very impressed by that early vocation. And Jack became a wonderful director. But at the end of our shooting, he passed away. It has been a difficult time. And my life has been fulfilled with love, family, a lot of work, and sometimes beaches also. It's difficult to say that I felt that I've been a lot of work, but I became known, but in the margin. I've been always interested in people in the margin, and some of my documentaries are related to, what I would say, squatters, gleaners, poor people, anonymous, courageous, righteous, gentle people, saving Jewish people during the war. And we owe them love, you know, so I took some time to do these documentaries about those people that I want to share, I want to make people share. And then I feel sometimes I'm a go-between people that film and the audiences, because sharing is more interesting than anything. And I was lucky to meet recently J.R., an artist and a photographer. And we decided together to do the same thing we like. You know, empathy for people, trying to catch the best of them, listening to them, and making big images of them on the wall. And all these people were people out of power. And we never spoke politics. We want to do person to person. Share what could be understood when we speak calmly to people. So we did that film. It's called now Faces, Places here. En français, c'est Visage, Village. And the way we did was that these spaced big images, we did it because we were traveling, and we have been so friendly at first sight. We traveled in his magical truck, and maybe it's around here. It's a truck in which there is a lab, so you enter to have a little photo, you go out, you get a poster, and you want to paste it, you do it. So we went there, and during the road movie time, we learned to know each other better, discover each other. Just 50 years of difference of age, but we got along so well that age was not a problem, but no, the understanding. And I understood my age inspired him. It was interesting in the fact that I looked not very well, my eyes are weak, I cannot go up the stairs, and he started to take pictures of me, photos of pieces of me. I didn't know what he wanted to do with it, but I allowed it to do so. So there is an excerpt, you will see what he did with my pieces of body. But meanwhile, you'd see I was explaining to work in a factory what was our project, what was the utopia of our project. So there is that little scene.
Tu le remontes celui-là.
Qu'est-ce que je sors
ah bah. Tu sors celui-là, tu me le rapproches. Voilà. Et celui-là, tu me le descends un peu. Voilà, très bien.
L'idée que tu diriges mes doigts de pied m'enchante.
Recroquevillé maintenant. Ok.
On dirait un cœur un peu fripé. Comme les patates que j'avais filmées, jeunes, puis vieilles.
Devine ce que je vais faire avec ces petits morceaux de toit.
Et c'est les vôtres? Ils sont jolis.
Je sais pas.
Et qui c'est qui a eu l'idée?
Lui, hein, pas moi.
D'accord.
Moi, je suis pas fier de mes pieds, je les trouve trop petits.
Oh, c'est vrai qu'ils paraissent petits. C'est vrai qu'ils paraissent petits, mais je veux pas trop. J'étais curieux. Le but de ces doigts de pied sur les wagons, est-ce qu'il y a un but ou c'est...
Le but, c'est le pouvoir de l'imagination.
D'accord.
C'est-à-dire qu'on se donne le droit, JR et moi, d'imaginer des choses et de demander aux gens, est-ce qu'on peut faire notre imagination chez vous? Par contre, notre idée, toujours, c'était d'être avec les gens qui travaillent. Donc c'est pour ça qu'on a fait les photos de groupe. Donc il y a en même temps un désir de partager avec vous les photos de groupe et puis de faire nos petites idées, nos petites folies, ce qui nous fait plaisir, en espérant que ça fait plaisir aux autres aussi.
Ouais. Bon, ce qui me surprenait, c'est que c'est original et puis c'est une autre expérience.
Tes pieds et tes yeux racontent une histoire. Ce train ira dans plus d'endroits où tu n'iras jamais.
Power of imagination, freedom in creation. That's what is that.